What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Paulino Podcast. Um, yeah, we're still working on expanding here. Just working out the kinks of all this podcasting. Gonna try to. I asked a few people to, come on and engage on a few things. I wanted to interview a few people. We get into that later on this year, through and throughout. I'm juggling a few things here. I got 5 kids, and I got a job. I got school. Which is very time consuming. So, trying to juggle a few things here, but. Yeah, definitely squeezing this into my schedule as well. It's definitely been proven as challenging. So, nonetheless, welcome back to another episode. A few things has happened since we've had the Super Bowl. Seahawks ticket. From the Patriots, new era Patriots, obviously. I enjoyed the game. It was a pretty good game. I gotta say the Patriots didn't show up. Their offense was just not there. So I'm not gonna get too much into the sports of that. The commentating of that. However, the halftime show is what I wanted to kind of get my own piece on, and I feel like me as a Spanish conservative, I feel like my opinion would have some bearing on the topic. I'm not entirely sure what the argument for having Bad Bunny perform at the halftime show was. As a Spanish conservative, I understand that the left likes to use the smear campaigns as kind of their forefront to attack, other political pundits and other figures, who are in the sphere of whichever political party they're kind of advocating for. But what I've been seeing is that the conservatives, and I'll bite the bullet on this, man. It's not the fact that there's a Spanish guy performing at the halftime show. The argument for the right, and I want to clarify this because I feel like a lot of people are just getting it wrong. The main argument that's coming from the right is that Bad Bunny stood up on the stage when he received his awards for great. Which, look, again, the guy's a talented guy. I can't deny that. Denying that would be like saying the sky is not blue. The guy is talented. Okay, I don't like his music, but the reason he was up on the stage receiving Grammys was because he had some obviously talent that a lot of people recognize. I'm Spanish, but I don't listen to reggaeton. To be honest with you, I listen to, if I am listening to Spanish music, it's a little bit more like bachata. I like more of the slower Spanish music. Also, I like Spanish classical. I mean, that's just my liking. I'm not too much on the hyped up beats. But when looking at the show pragmatically, I mean, it was a good show. I'm sorry, but I mean, to the conservatives, and I'm not here selling out. I'm just looking at it for what it is. The show itself was good. Okay. The interesting part about the show that caught a lot of attention was the part where he started mentioning all the countries. And look, if Trump does this all the time, he did it when the during the election when the Democrats were sitting right when before the inauguration, when they or was it after? I can't really remember exactly when that happened, but the Republicans brung in a little kid that was a cancer survivor patient, and they made him an honorary agent, a law enforcement agent or police officer or something like that. And the Democrats didn't stand up and clap for it. Now, while the gesture in and of itself is very nice, Trump knew what he was doing. He's using that to kind of say, look, I'm doing something good, and you guys won't even clap for that. Is that wrong? I mean, I wouldn't do it, but is the strategy in and of itself effective? Yeah, because it showed that the Democrats were insensitive to something like that. Now, the story and the script is now flipped. Now we have a guy who is very talented, has a huge following. Pretty much the entire Spanish following, the entire Spanish community was for this. They enjoyed the show because not only was Bad Bunny playing songs that he himself wrote, but there was a couple samples that he took from older songs that I enjoy. So it just seemed like it had a little piece for every type of Spanish person during that Super Bowl halftime show. Now, the show in and of itself was fine. It was pretty good. The choreography was fine. Everything was I think it was just any old. I was there for the football, so I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not really that critical of music videos. I mean, I'm just not. I was just more there for the game. However, the controversy of Bad Bunny going up on stage and saying, "Hey, look, you guys need to abolish ICE. ICE is wrong and all this." And he said that all with the one phrase, ICE, get out, fuck ICE and all this shit. And while, look, I can understand when someone has their own opinion and they're very opinionated and they've been since they got up on, any kind of big stage, but he wasn't. Everybody was wearing them little ICE out pins. Everybody was saying shit about ICE. He just jumped on that train and just went with the crowd with what everybody was doing. You know what I'm saying? To me, that doesn't seem like he had his own thought. It just seemed like they told him to do it so that he's part of this camp that everybody's in right now. And he's Spanish. Why not? He'll be a prominent person. He can be the spokesperson. He can be the advocate for all this stuff. And it's like, it's a perfect PR move. It's what I see. I don't see that Bad Bunny is so, if he was so, if the situation was so as melodramatic as it's being put, Bad Bunny would give up all of his earnings and dedicate his life to helping immigrants instead of making millions and millions of dollars making music for Americans. Because despite where he's from, the music is being produced here, the money is being made here. He's making American dollars. He's not making pesos. So and then the same thing goes, the same argument goes for Billie Eilish, who came up there and said that we're living on stolen land, but she has a fucking big ass mansion somewhere in the fucking in the heart of all of Hollywood and all of California. You got a fucking big ass house, give up your land. That's what that argument pretty much comes down to. It's like, give up your land, and that's the argument that's coming from the right. It's not that it's a race thing. It's that you come out and you talk shit about the law enforcement. I don't give a fuck what the fuck it is, but you must know that you're making a political statement. You can't be oblivious to that. That's just like, how stupid can you be to not realize that you're making a massive political statement, and you're immediately putting everyone who follows you into a camp. Immediately. It happens instantaneously, because as soon as he opened his mouth, everybody started coming out. Yep, and I agree and all this. And it's like, all right, dude, you're just following this train that's rolling. You're not even having a proper discussion about it. Like, does he even know what ICE stands for? Is what I'm saying. Does he even know that ICE is an acronym? You know what I'm saying? Like, what exactly are you advocating for if you're not even seeing exactly what the issue is, if you're not even reading into it? Immigration needs enforcement. I don't know why people dismiss that. Immigration needs enforcement. You can't have one without the other. You can have enforcement without immigration, however, but that's not the world we live in. We have rules. Those rules need to be enforced. How would we enforce that? Well, it's in the form of a law enforcement. That's why they enforce the law. It's in their name. And people are losing their fucking shit because they're enforcing immigration laws, which we have. You know, I get very, I would say have ethos in this argument because I have a personal, I guess, investment in this. You know, why do I speak out against illegal immigration? Because my family did it legally. And I know that's what people are saying now. Oh, what about the people? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, they're skipping the line. Yeah, that's not fair. Someone stands next to you at a supermarket and they skip the line, you'd say something. You're not going to be all nice about it. You're going to be very, very you're going to feel very disrespected. Are you not? You stood your place in line, and now what? Now this person just gets to jump in front because, and then then they're going to give you the sob story about how they really, really need to do it. You know, what are we doing here? What exactly are we doing here? If we start letting everybody in to that level, if we start letting everybody in without no regard to the law, no regard to immigration law, we're going to end up with a third world country. We're going to end up with a country that people could just walk on through. Does not anybody see that? Is anybody not putting that into context? I mean, it's pretty, to me, I see it as in that's common sense. You know, if you start doing this, it's going to roll into this. We tell our kids, hey, you know, don't eat a whole bunch of cookies before dinner, right? You know, we know best. We're the ones that are giving you the law. You know, you got to abide by that. If we don't, and we let them have the cookie, well, what do you think they're going to ask for tomorrow before dinner? You think they're going to do a whole show restraint? No, they're not. They're not going to show restraint. That's where the saying comes from. You give a kid a crumb, they want the whole damn kitchen. That's where that comes from. We apply it to everything else, but when it comes to immigration, it's like it has all these exceptions and all these rules, and it's like, no. Coming from a Spanish conservative, no. Get in line. Get in line. That's all the illegal immigrants is go get in line. What you're doing, it means nothing. What you're doing has no bearing. Has no bearing on the argument. All you're doing is putting your family through jeopardy. You're living a life on the run. Your kids are now going to be subject to whatever path you take. Because let's say you cross the damn Rio Grande and your kid doesn't make it. Are you willing to sacrifice your kid to cross the border? That's how much it's worth to you, your kid's life. Because they don't talk about the kids that are washing up in the Rio Grande. They don't talk about that. The people that are putting their kids in danger. The people that are right. Yeah, you know what? They're running away from a war-ridden Mexico, but so the fuck is everybody else. So the fuck is everybody else. Think about the people that are overseas. People in South America can traverse their way by foot. What about the people that are overseas? What do you think their argument is? You think immigrants only come from Mexico? You think immigrants are only Mexican? No, immigrants come from everywhere. Everywhere that's not America. And people want to say, oh, well, the Mexicans, they helped build this country. And it's like, yeah, you know what? A lot of people helped build this country. It's not exclusive. And you know what? The people that came here to build this country, I'm pretty fucking sure they came here legally. Then they want to say, oh, what about the stolen land? It's like the stolen land that you guys are so also crying about. Let me give you a little insight about knowledge about borders. Do you think Native American nations had a government? Do you think they had laws? Do you think they had borders? Do you think they had commerce? Do you think they had all of these things in place prior to the colonization of America? No, they didn't. Why? Because it was no man's land. It was, I want this, I will take this, and if it takes killing everybody in that village, then so be it. That's the way of life around here. That's how we do it. Many, many, many cases and many, many instances in history do we have records of Indians being savages to each other. Not arguing for the white people. I'm just saying the people that we're all so crying about had their own demons to fucking deal with. Had their own shit to deal with. People paint them as, oh, they were peaceful and all about. No. You think the tomahawk came from church, from the Indian churches? You think the tomahawk was created and the bow and arrow was created for what? To praise the Lord? No, it was for defense from other tribes. That's what it was. It was defense for other tribes. And we sit here and start crying about it that, oh my God, the Hopi Indians and all this. And it's like, look, dude, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for the genocide that went down and deny that it went down. I understand the Trail of Tears. I understand what went down. But they were just as guilty. We're not going to pin the fucking devil horns on just one guy. No. We're all fucked up. Okay? Stop fucking trying to sing the fucking song about, oh my God, kumbaya. No. They were all fucked up. Okay? They were all fucked up. In fact, there was no regard for law or no regard for human safety. No regard for anything. No guardrails on anything. Nothing. They were living in teepees when we got here. Not a detriment to them, just saying that's the level of society and the level of understanding that they had. Bringing in ideas from Eastern countries, from the East, wasn't a move, to say, oh, look at how savage these people were. Wasn't an accountant of any of that. They didn't come here to cleanse the Indians. They didn't come over here to oh, there's a group of savages over there, let's go kill them. No. The colonists themselves were running from something. They ended up somewhere else. Look, if the Sioux Indians can take a land by force, well, you know what? So can the colonists. What did the colonists have? They were better at fighting than the Indians were. That's what happened. That's what happened. They were better at fighting. They had better weaponry. If it was the other case around, we wouldn't be hearing of the colonists. We wouldn't be hearing of the white devils that came over here to cleanse the land of the savages that are inhabiting this unknown piece of land. No. Definitely not. Never was, never will. That's not the case. Doesn't even sound realistic. Because if you're telling me that information traveled that well in the 1600s, then you got another thing coming. Because it didn't. We didn't have I don't know if you understand that, but we didn't have the internet in the 1600s. So how the fuck could they have even known that there was an entire piece of land called America over there that was inhabited by all these different types of tribes, and sections of people that were inhabiting all these pieces of land. And the key word is inhabiting. Inhabiting. Now everybody can argue that, oh, you know, the laws that the man brung were unfair. It's like, look, we can argue about that all day. And I'll probably concede to a few things. But for you to convince me that it was all nice and daisies and daffodils here before the colonists came, you can't. You can't do that, because then you're dismissing all the shit that we have that says that it was pretty fucked up over here prior to the colonists. Pretty fucked up after the colonists. Not saying that the colonists were saints as well. I'm just saying this whole song we're singing about the fucking Indians, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Those are tough motherfuckers. Those are some bad motherfuckers. Okay? They didn't take shit from nobody. They fought fucking hard and they lost. Okay? Kind of went on a little tangent there, you know, going from the Super Bowl. But it just, I see these arguments made and I see them attach these other issues to it, like, and they don't even understand the full context of it. They just know what the propaganda is. They fall for the propaganda. And then they start arguing using the propaganda as a premise. It's just like, dude, your premise is all wrong. You know, because you're arguing from a biased standpoint. If you're going to argue with me, you need to be fucking unbiased as fuck. Because I read. That's the difference between a lot of fucking people and what's going on here is that I'm bringing to you things I've read on multiple platforms. Not just the one lens that people are telling me to look through. No. Fuck that lens. That's the last lens I'm looking through. I'm looking through every other fucking lens before I even consider what you're proposing to me. I'm going to look at it from every other different angle before I even accept your premise. Why? Because context matters. Yeah. No. Context fucking matters. And if we're going to remove context and we're going to start cherry picking information to help our fucking fucked up rhetoric, then look, I'm going to dismantle you. It's going to be dismantled. It's not going to live to see the end of the argument, because everything that you're coming from, every point that you're making is one. A lot of people like to poison the well. They like to say, there are these masked secret police running around kidnapping people. It's like, whoa, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? You're talking about the very public organization, ICE, the one that's literally being televised on TV. Yeah, they're covering their faces because they don't want you showing up to their fucking house unannounced. That's why. Yeah, they got a tough job. And they don't want you to find out where they live. Yep. They don't want you to know who the fuck they are. Why? Because y'all petty. Y'all can't see that immigration is being enforced, and you can't stand it. You can't stand it. And when I say, okay, I'll buy it. You want an open border, right? I mean, it is what it's being advocated for. What's the opposite of enforcing immigration? Not enforcing immigration. You want open borders. You know. They say, no, we don't want open border. Oh, no, yeah. I think you do. You know, having open borders is what led to the aggressive use of immigration, of enforcing immigration. It's what led to the aggressive use of ICE agents. That's why we're here. We're not here because all of a sudden Trump came into office and he wanted to be a dictator and he wanted to do all these Nazi things that people are saying he's doing. No, it's because the previous administration, and again, I'm singing the song again. The previous administration allowed for many undocumented to come into the country and hide. Now we are having to allocate our resources to finding these people and taking them back to their country. No one's executing anyone. No one's kidnapping anyone. This is what happens when immigration goes south. This is the effect. This is what happens when we don't enforce immigration. Okay? It's the 10 people in a house problem. If you have 10 people in your house, and you need to get them out, are you going to get them out by talking to them? I mean, you may. I mean, good luck. But eventually, especially if those people start saying in your house, well, I'm not breaking any rules and I didn't steal anything, I'm just in your house. You're going to be like, brother, you need to fucking leave. Or are you going to, people, you can't really sit there and say that this is going to be, whatchamacallit, this isn't going to be a easy thing to do. It's going to require force. It's going to require for you to step out of your comfort zone. It's going to require also strong stomachs from the people who are spectating. Because let me tell you something, not a lot of people have seen a grown-ass man get slammed into the ground and put into handcuffs, but until you actually see it. No one's ever seen a full-grown man get tased to the ground until you fucking see it. It's a pretty tough thing to watch. I mean, it's pretty graphic, let alone immigration being enforced to the level that it is today, especially with all the phones that we have. Everybody's looking and recording and, oh, look at the clip I got and look at this and look at that. Look at what they're doing. Now, dangerous thing about that is, of course, again, the context. You catch a 10-second video of some altercation with an ICE officer, but you conveniently leave out the events that lead up to that. And that's where people get fucked up. They say, the idea that people are going to, somehow distort the rhetoric. If you take a clip from your phone and CNN just so happens to get their hands on it, best believe you're going to have a full 24-hour news cycle about how the craziness and all of these things and these hypotheticals and these presuppositions that are coming from this video that they're spewing to the people, and the people are just buying it. They're just like, yeah, this is wrong. How can they do this? For example, okay, the Rodney King, I'm going to take it back. Rodney King. We have the video of the officers assaulting Rodney King, which again, the video is gruesome. There's nothing to say about that. They definitely were. They definitely were abusing their power from the context of the video at face value. However, when we look at the context of the case, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Rodney King was being chased prior to the beating. I don't know if anybody knows this, but there were drugs in Rodney King's system. I'm not trying to say that this is the real look, he's using that. No. The facts of the case are one thing, and to state them also just literally does nothing. I'm not claiming anything. I'm not saying that Rodney King the Rodney King beating was justified. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that with the knowledge now of knowing, with the knowledge that we know regarding the previous and leading events to the Rodney King beating, some of it is justified. You know, training sucked back in the day, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you have people that, one, at the time, obviously we were still dealing with the civil rights. In this case, without the context of the case, just the video itself, that was the perfect, and I mean the perfect argument for civil rights. Why? Because it showed white cops beating a black subject. And it's the video, while it was filmed from a shoulder mounted camcorder, it was pretty clear as day that Rodney King was getting assaulted by those cops. There's no denying it. However, now knowing that the case didn't start there, now looking at it from a legal standpoint, I can't dismiss everything else. I have to put into context, like, okay, well, this guy kind of caused it. He kind of put himself in that position, in a sense. The force was still unnecessary regardless. However, when you put yourself in a position, there's no turning back. You know, Rodney King made his choices. You know, he made his choices, and while I do have sympathy, listen, if a cop is shooting at a suspect and that bullet strays and hits an innocent person, I'm going to have sympathy for that person. If a protester gets shot, I'm not going to have sympathy. I'm not going to have sympathy because you're causing your own demise. You're putting yourself in that position to where you can possibly get shot. So you knew what you were getting into prior to you making your choices. You know, the thing is that people don't realize the consequences are real when there's a gun stuck in your face held by a law enforcement officer. Then you know it's real. Then you know it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah. Now, I'm gonna end this video on a pretty much lighter note. You know, I think we need to unify. I think that, you know, someone, I guess from my perspective, being a Spanish conservative, can kind of bring people together to a certain extent. Because I bring not only my political views and my heritage, but also my knowledge of the law. You know, as everybody knows, or the people that are in my circle at least know, that I am trying to obtain my law degree. You know, I'm in the process of finishing up all the prerequisites for that. So I'm bringing something to the table, and hopefully that can widen people's perspectives. I'm not trying to change no one's mind, because I understand it. I understand that everybody's made up politically. Everybody's mind's made up politically. But at least widen your view, you know, and keep expanding, you know, keep reading, you know, don't stop at CNN, you know, don't stop at MSNBC, you know, look past that, you know. With all that, appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to be, like I said, expanding a little bit later on this year to bigger ventures. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, peace, guys.